Hey everybody, it's Aaron Kemkes from ALK Games, and this is Skipping Lillies. Now, Skipping Lillies is a drafting placement game that's very quick and fast in over 3 rounds, where you are trying to make the tastiest pond for your really picky frogs. Your frogs don't like things such as your purple or pink dragonflies next to mosquitoes, or moths next to blue dragonflies. So you have to, just like any picky child or picky person, I'm a fellow picky person, by the way, you are trying to make the best pond that they're actually going to eat the contents that are on the lily pads. So the way you do that is you deal out 9 cards to each player. It does not matter what the player count is. If it's a 2-player game, you're going to do 18 cards. The other 18 go aside for the round. If it's a 4-player game, you're going to use all 36. There are some extra cards that you can use to switch out, but we're not using these in this example. So you set the other cards aside, and you're going to take a look at your hand. Now your hand is going to have one of 6 different cards. You're going to have a multicolored dragonfly. You're going to have a purple dragonfly. You're going to have a blue, a yellow, and you're going to have moths and mosquitoes. And the first turn's fairly easy. Just like any drafting game, you pick a card to start. You just rip the Band-Aid off and do it. So I'm going to pick this one here. And where I place this card right now does not determine its final position. So this could be the center. It could be the bottom right. It could be the top left. It could be the top middle. As long as you don't break the size requirement for the pond. The pond has to be 3 cards wide and 3 cards tall. So if I, for example, if I have 3 cards there already, I can't put a 4th one here, but I could build up or down. All right. So that being said, both players would then put out a set of cards, or put out a card and start building their pond in front of them to eventually get a set or a tableau. So once you pick, then you pass, just like any drafting game. And when it comes around to you for the second pick, you're going to be able to place that card and every subsequent card anywhere that it's touching a previous card. So touching in this example basically means diagonal or adjacent. It can mean both. So in this case, the purple is going to go diagonal to the multicolored. Now the multicolored is a special case because the multicolored dragonflies actually score 3 points if they're in a corner. So you kind of want to try to get them in corners, but they're also worth 2 points for every yellow dragonfly that's surrounding them, and 1 point for every purple and blue. So you're going to probably want to load up some yellows around them, but the big thing is you're going to want it to be in the corner, because at least it will score something being in the corner, just in case you don't get a lot of things around it. So let's just build out a pond here to show you an example, and then we'll go from there, and I'll explain my thought process here. Try to do this while I'm holding the camera. Okay, so now once you've played out the cards in your hand, once every player has depleted their hand and there are no more cards to pass, then you're going to score your pond. So we'll start with the blues, and I'll just go through a quick example of scoring here. The blues will score 1 point for every blue in your pond. So in this case, there are 2 of them, so each one's worth 2 points. The yellows, which there isn't a yellow present here, the yellow is going to score 1 for every dragonfly type that you have in your pond. So if you have all 4, it does count the yellow when you're scoring the yellow. So if you have all 4, then you're going to get 4 points for that yellow. In this case, no yellows, so we skip that. Then we go to the purples or the pinks, and those are going to score 1 point for every blue and yellow in the pond to your left and right. Well, I didn't build a pond for the other player, so let's just say for the sake of argument that they had 2 blues and a yellow. Okay, so Each one of those purples or pinks would be worth 3 points. So in that case, you're looking at 6 for those, and then 4 for the blue, puts you at 10. The multicolored are going to score 3 points if they're in a corner, and 1 point for every blue and purple next to it, and 2 for every yellow. So no yellows in this pond, which is bad for those multicolored dragonflies, but this multicolored dragonfly is going to score 3 for being in a corner, 1 for each purple and blue next to it, and of course no yellows. So in this case, that would be worth 5. This multicolored dragonfly is not in a corner, so it does not get points for being for its placement, but it will score 1 point for this purple, 1 point for this blue because it's touching. Remember, touching is diagonal or adjacent, and 1 point for this blue because it's diagonal to it. So this dragonfly will actually be worth 3 points. And then finally, your moths and mosquitoes. Your moth is going to be worth 2 points for every moth in your pond unless it is touching a blue. So in this case, both moths are actually touching a blue, so they're going to lose you 2 points instead. The mosquito scores 4 points unless it's in a corner or next to a purple. So in this case, well, we had the double whammy here. So we lose 3 points because it's in a corner and also because it's touching a purple. So you would calculate your final score here, and then after that, you are going to take 2 cards, and they have to be 2 different types. They have to be touching to save for the next round. So in this case, I'm just going to say I'm going to take those 2, and then you would carry those into the next round, and then all the players would draft 7 cards for the second round, following the same placement rules and, drafting out again until you've completed a pond. You'll score your pond a second time, and then you will keep 4 cards. 3 of them must be different types. And then after that, we'll score a third time. And then final scoring is very easy. For every, the player who has the most multicolored dragonflies is going to lose 5 points. And the player with the most moths and mosquitoes is going to gain 5 points. And after 3 rounds, the person with the high score is the winner.